Prawn fishing is one of the strangest jobs on the Australian Ocean. Each voyage can last many days, with work shifts of nearly 16 hours, chronic sleep deprivation, accumulated injuries, and uncertain income. Yet what is puzzling is that after all of that, many fishermen still return to these vessels time and time again. So why does a place that wears down the body every day become their second home? Each year, the industry harvests more than 28 million pounds of wild prawns. However, to maintain that enormous output, every voyage must be carefully calculated.
Where we should start tonight, so we've got a fair bit of work to ground running up and down here, and a lot of the boats have left now, so they're headed.
Before each season, regulatory authorities conduct extensive prawn stock surveys. Based on the results, they designate permitted fishing zones with large prawns and close areas with small prawns in order to protect the resource for the long term. Even when they know that the prawns are abundant, captains still cannot set sail at will. In this profession, timing is not only about locations, but also about something above them: the moon. On dark nights when moonlight is almost absent, vessels usually achieve the highest catch rates. Without light reaching the seabed, prawns feel safer leaving their hiding places to feed and are much more likely to enter the nets. Conversely, on brighter moonlit nights, catch rates often drop significantly. Moonlight causes prawns to stay hidden on the seabed rather than move around. Additionally, these periods usually coincide with weaker tides and slower currents, reducing the prawn's natural activity and making fishing more difficult. Therefore, every voyage is a race against time. Just a few days of poor timing can force them to extend their trip and consume extra fuel and supplies. But the moon is not the biggest problem they face. Another issue remains: how to bring hundreds of prawns to the surface and keep them alive for many days.
We're done tonight.
Commercial prawn trawlers in South Australia are not merely transportation vessels. They are floating factories where at every stage, from searching and catching to initial processing, takes place in the open ocean.
We are done. Good job.
Upon reaching the fishing grounds, the vessel prepares for the first trawl. The trawl net system is deployed from the stern while the fish maintains a speed of around 7 knots to fully deploy the equipment into the ocean. This is the moment that demands the highest concentration from the crew. A single small error in operation can cause the net system to malfunction. In some situations, when the net is misaligned or encounters problems, crew members must even climb to external areas of the vessel to manually adjust the equipment. In the open sea with large waves and heavy machinery weighing several tons in operation, this is one of the most dangerous jobs on board. After being deployed, the net typically remains underwater for around 50 minutes before being hauled back. The waiting period can make the entire crew anxious, as they do not know whether the content below contains a full load of prawns or merely another failed gamble.
Skip, he's going down there, and yeah.
Finally, the net is retrieved. They have won the bet. Hundreds of prawns pour down like an orange-coloured rainfall. But the real nightmare is just beginning. When the net is hauled out of the water, there is not a moment for the crew to breathe a sigh of relief. On the contrary, this is when the race against time truly begins. Most of the prawns in the cod end must be transferred to the processing system immediately. They are dumped into the receiving hopper and moved onto the conveyor belt, where crew members stand ready to begin the most grueling task of the voyage. In theory, their task is only to clean and sort the prawns. In reality, it is repetitive work, hour after hour, under conditions where the body is already exhausted from 12 to 16 hour shifts every night. they must stand continuously beside the moving conveyor belt, removing seaweed, mud, and other debris from the catch. When a large haul arrives, the belt speed increases, meaning they have almost no time to rest. On successful trips, the prawn volume is so large that the crew must work continuously for many hours just to process the latest load. The irony is that a successful haul, what they always hope for, sometimes becomes the greatest test of their physical endurance.
Yeah. Well, a bit is there.
After cleaning, the prawns pass through the sorting system. This machine divides them into 6 different size groups.
Through at the moment.
After sorting, most of the catch is transferred to a seawater boiling system. Not only does this preserve the product, the process also creates a distinctive flavour as the boiling water retains the prawn's natural sweetness. However, the system does not always operate smoothly. During summer voyages, or when generator failures prevent the boiling equipment from running, the crew must switch to the live dipping method. Just got to reconnect this belt now. They are moved to chilled saltwater tanks maintained at 0 to 1 degree Celsius to preserve perfect freshness. Then the entire batch is transferred to the freezing hold. Inside this hold, the refrigeration coils operate at approximately -42 degrees Celsius, rapidly freezing the prawns to maintain quality until the vessel returns to land. For those who directly operate the vessel, this is one of the harshest areas. They must move between wet, slippery zones with extremely low temperatures. Within a short time, their hands can become stiff and their clothing covered in frost.
Got it down the freezer.
For this crew, finishing freezing one batch of prawns does not mean the workday is over. Once the hold is full, they must return to the deck to begin the new cycle, deploying the net, hauling it in, and processing thousands of prawns. Some nights, the nets come up almost empty. After many hours of work in the darkness, they retrieve too few prawns to cover the cost of fuel, food, and vessel operation. At such times, the crew realises that they may have lost an entire day of labour with almost nothing to show for it. But there are also days where the completely opposite occurs. A successful night's catch can earn them up to several $1,000s. Yet behind those few $1,000s may be a crew member who has worked almost continuously for 30 hours, managing only around 4 hours of sleep. At that point, even simple movements gradually become burdensome. The continuous bending to handle nets, pull equipment, sort prawns, and move bins causes many to suffer serious back problems. Some crew members describe it this way: just a few hours of high intensity work on a big night catch can cause spinal damage equivalent to 20 years of normal labour. Herniated discs, chronic back pain, or having to take time off are not uncommon in this industry. In addition to accumulated injuries, sudden accidents also occur very often. A burst hydraulic line can spray oil with great force, endangering the eyes, skin, and face of anyone nearby.
Emergency stop! It's off!
And when the weather turns bad, everything becomes even more difficult. Large waves cause the vessel to roll constantly, turning already strenuous tasks into ones that are many times more dangerous. During those rough days, many crew members become so seasick they can vomit continuously during their shifts, but still try to continue. They do not want to be seen as unable to handle the job, and above all, they are not allowed to quit midway.
Today, isn't it, Berkey?
Unlike onshore jobs with fixed salaries, the income of prawn fishermen depends on a percentage sharing system based on the vessel's total catch. If the catch does not reach the required level, the vessel often has to stay at sea for many more nights to search for new prawn schools. There are times when the crew thinks they are about to return home, only to receive notice that they must remain at sea because production is still insufficient. In an industry where income depends entirely on catch volume, competition between vessels is also intense. Some crew members are willing to leave their current boat for another simply for an offer of a few $100s more. For them, even a small difference can make a big impact after many months working far from home. Yet despite complaints about exhaustion, many of them cannot deny one thing: they are attached to this life. Amidst long days filled with only the sound of the ship's engine and ocean waves, there are still moments that make them want to return.
You start waving!
Yeah, we can't wait out any more rain either.
One of the main factors that keeps many crew members is the sense of freedom that the ocean provides.
Grab it, hook it back in the hook again.
Unlike jobs confined within the four walls of an office or factory, life at sea changes every day. Every morning, they may wake up to an entirely different stretch of ocean, watch the sun rise from the distant horizon, or stand on deck after a long shift to witness the sunset, painting the water red. For many, the best part of this job is standing in the open sea, witnessing scenes that most people will never have a chance to see, while still being paid for the very experience. The ocean is not only a workplace, but also a source of adventure and freedom that life on land can hardly replace. But what keeps them there long term is probably not just the scenery, but the people who overcome every hardship with them on the vessel.
Song is about you. You're so vain. You're so vain.
In a harsh environment where everyone must rely on one another to survive, camaraderie becomes what helps them endure the most difficult days. Shared meals, stories after shifts, and jokes amongst the crew become rare moments that help them to forget the fatigue.
Close in on that. Was that a hard one?
Okay, mate, I'll set the course now.
Just turn off the rest.
talking.
Oh, sorry, mate. Yeah, we've got seafood pasta on the go, mate. Bit of white wine and butter
Bugs,
sauce.
prawns.
Bugs, prawns.
Wow.
Should be pretty good, I reckon. It's a pretty steady night, so. I was hoping it was
Of course, life on board is never comfortable. Living spaces are cramped, belongings are often in disarray, clothes may be shared, and sometimes they must endure long days seeing only the sea around them. But after thousands of hours working together, the vessel gradually becomes more than just a place to earn a living. It becomes a repository of stories, friendships forged through hardship, and pride in a profession that not everyone has the strength to pursue. This vessel may take their health day by day, causing them sleeplessness, back pain, and many moments of wondering whether this job is worth it. But at the same time, it also brings a sense of belonging, connection, and a life they would find hard to discover
Yummy.
anywhere else.
That actually looks so good. 2 bacon pieces each, Conrad. Yeah.
I hate forgetting Conrad doesn't like scallop.
Yummy.
I tried to.
Oh yeah, I saw that. No one.
It didn't work. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're both yours. That's it.
For many fishermen, the sea is both a place that tests the limits of human endurance and a place where they truly
Wow.
feel alive. Perhaps that is the explanation for the greatest paradox in the Australian prawn fishing industry.